Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking all about Old Man Logan. Now I'm going to be talking about the main book by Mark Millar that started everything off. I'm going to be talking about the Brian Michael Bendis book that was a tie into Secret Wars, and I'm going to be talking about the current ongoing series written by Jeff Lemire. So spoilers for all that. If you haven't read it, there's your warning. I'll be kicking things off with Old Man Logan, written by Mark Millar, and the art is done by Steve McNiven, because this is the book that started it all. It gave us this amazing character in this really interesting, cool world. And to me, Old Man Logan, what's really interesting about it more is the world building. The world and the characters are what really makes this book interesting to me, because the plot is good, but it's nothing really new besides some factors to it. But for the most part, it's nothing too new. It's very much Unforgiven. If you haven't seen Unforgiven, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's great. Anyways, this book borrows its setup from that, and so the plot isn't that really new, but everything else about it is very interesting and very different to anything we've seen before in comics. The setup for this world is it's the Marvel universe, but it's a post-apocalyptic Marvel universe to where it's way in the future, so all the heroes are either old or dead because the villains rule now. There was a villain uprising because the villains realized, there's like 10 of us at least for every hero, so if we all teamed up and attacked at once, they wouldn't stand a chance. Which is really just common sense. Like, why didn't the villains think of this before, besides the fact that, they'd never be coordinated enough to work together? But yeah, it makes sense because each hero, some have even more, have at least 10 villains because they all have like their own rogues gallery. You have people like Spider-Man who has tons of villains, so each of them have a bunch of different villains. So if they all teamed up, it makes sense, and I think that's a really cool setup. And the fact that they decide to all attack on one night and take over the U.S., I think that's really cool. And then they split up into pieces, and then there's wars occasionally that happen to take over different places. And I think that's really awesome. Like, you have Kingpin rules this part, Red Skull rules this part. I think that's really cool how like all the villains attacked, took over the U.S., and then split up into bits. I really like that. And another thing that works to the advantage of this book is the fact that it is an Elseworld story, because any other story to where Wolverine and Hawkeye team up and go on some road trip, you never suspect either of them to be in any danger at all. Unless the story is called Death of Insert Marvel Character here, you're never expecting them to die. That's just the way it is. But since this is an Elseworld story, it's like Logan or Hawkeye could die on this trip, and you always have a little inkling maybe they could die. There's a sense of danger there, and I really like that. And sure enough, Hawkeye does die, and also you have people like Punisher and Daredevil die within like the first couple panels that they're introduced. So there is a sense of danger here of, okay, these huge characters in the book can die, and Hawkeye's death is really sad in this book. But yeah, that's another thing that works to the advantage of this book. Speaking of which, Hawkeye is definitely one of my favorite characters in this book. He's so great. I love his characterization in this book, how he's just this old blind guy that wants to get back into the fight, wants to take the fight to these villains and try to take his country back. I really love that. I love the depiction of Hawkeye in this book. Also, side note, Marvel, if you want to milk the Old Man Logan universe anymore, I would be so down for a Hawkeye miniseries showing how he survived the villain uprising and how he became blind. I would be really down for that. That would be awesome. Imagine that, like a 6-issue miniseries of this Old Man Logan Hawkeye, the Old Man Logan universe, showing how he survived the villain uprising and became blind. I just think that would be awesome. But anyways, like I was saying, I think the world is really the interesting part of this book, not necessarily the main plot line. That's the most interesting part, but the main plot is good. I really do like this revenge tale, how Wolverine has to pay his debt to the Banners because he owes them rent. So he decides to go on this road trip with Hawkeye to make this sort of drug deal, and it's awesome. It's a really cool road trip sort of book until Hawkeye dies, and then Wolverine goes and confronts Red Skull, and he kills Red Skull in like the best way possible by decapitating him with Cap Shield. I love that. Then he flies cross country back to California because he went all the way from California to Washington DC, and then he flies back from Washington DC to California in Iron Man's armor, finds his family's dead, goes and kills all the Hulks, including Bruce Banner himself. I just think that's awesome. Then he takes Bruce Banner's nephew under his wing because he sees it sort of as like a poetic justice. I think that's really cool, and I love that. Anyways, real quick, I didn't talk about the art in this book. It is fantastic. Steve McNiven, there's not really anyone who draws violence quite like him. I love the way he draws it. Like when Wolverine's in a bloody brawl, you really feel it, and it's awesome. There's blood everywhere, and he's great at drawing that blood and gore gore for Wolverine just getting into a brawl. I love it. But anyways, not going too in depth with this book because I do have a lot of Old Man Logan to cover. I do love this book. It's amazing. It's definitely my second favorite Wolverine book, just under the Chris Claremont, Frank Miller book. It's fantastic. And if you haven't read it, I don't know why you haven't. It's great. But anyways, now on to the Secret Wars tie-in written by Brian Michael Bendis. This is just trash, basically. There's no reason to read this unless you really want to know how Wolverine got from how Old Man Logan got from his universe to the main universe, to the canon universe. That's the only reason to read this. Other than this, the story's not really interesting. Nothing that great happens. It's very lackluster. It's a bridge story. It's basically just tell you, hey, this is how this happens. This is just set up the Old Man Logan book. That's all it is. It's a setup story. There's no point to it besides setting up Old Man Logan because they need him in the main universe. And it's just, I didn't care for it. I was just kind of like, I was waiting for something to happen, but all that happens is Wolverine basically gets his butt kicked from one world to the next until he's in the canon world. And that's all that happens. That's basically the entirety of this book. There's some good moments here and there, but overall it's very disappointing. And I was hoping for better from Brian Michael Bendis, but didn't get it. It's just not a very good book. The art by Andrea Sorrentino is amazing though, and but that's my personal opinion because he's my favorite artist currently. He's amazing. I know some people don't care for his art, but me overall, I love his art. It's amazing, and it's definitely the best part of this series. Again, didn't cover much about it because I just didn't care for this series. Like this mini-series, it's like 5 issues. It's not that good. You can skip over it. I wouldn't say it's recommended reading from me for Old Man Logan. Now let's talk about the current series, which is written by Jeff Lemire and the art is done by Andrea Sorrentino. I love this book. It's great. It's my second favorite ongoing series right now, only second to Superman Rebirth. So this series is great. It started out rather lackluster though because Logan thought, oh, I've been sent back to the past. That's why everyone's young and still alive. I can stop the villain uprising from happening. So he makes his list with names like, I'm gonna kill Mysterio, because Mysterio was the guy who made Wolverine think that everyone was in the X-Men were like these villains, and so that's why he killed all of them in the original Old Man Logan story. So he's like, I'm gonna kill Mysterio, I'm gonna kill Hulk, because Hulk's the one who kills his family. And he like makes this list of all these people he's gonna kill, and there's one exposable name on there, which is Butcher. In the first issue, he kills Butcher, and it's like, yeah, I think it was the first issue, second issue, either way, he kills Butcher, and then after that, you know, he's not gonna kill anyone else, because he's not gonna kill Hulk, he's not gonna kill Mysterio, he's in the canon universe, he can't do this, they won't let him. So it's not an interesting setup at all, because it's like, oh, wow, he killed the exposable name on the list. Who would have thought? The expendable guy, he killed him. He's not gonna kill anyone else on this list, because we all know that Red Skull, Hulk, and Mysterio are all going to be fine, and Old Man Logan's not going to be wanting to kill them because that's just not how this works. He's in the canon universe. It's not a setup. It's not a good setup. And then throughout the story, he goes and he runs into the new Hawkeye, which is Kate Bishop. He runs into new Cap, you know, like Nazi Hydra Cap or whatever, and it's whatever, and it's pretty boring. Like, there's nothing really good that happens. But then after that, starting with issue 5, it gets really good. We get a great storyline showing Logan going to where his future wife, well, his wife in the other universe, her when she's a kid, he just goes to live in her town to protect her, to make sure no one messes with her. But by going there, he incidentally like brings the Reavers there, and so the Reavers attack that town. This is probably my favorite story arc, by the way, in this series. It's great. And the Reavers attack. Wolverine ends up defending the town from them and having like a bloody war with these guys, and it's awesome. And in the end, he has this great fight with Lady Deathstrike, to where Deathstrike takes half his face off, and then Wolverine goes complete berserker mode and just rips her limbs off, like rips her arms off, just destroys her insides, and then from that he like passes out because he had half his face ripped off. And this Old Man Logan, his healing factor isn't as strong as the younger Logan, so he passes out after that, and Lady Deathstrike just crawls away, and that sets up the next storyline, which is Wolverine trying to hunt down Lady Deathstrike. But then Logan runs into the Silent Order, who are these guys from the Old Man Logan universe that he knew and stuff, and it's just really interesting. We also get this story interwoven with stuff from Old Man Logan, like how he met his wife and things like that, and how they got to where they were in the book written by Mark Millar. And it's really cool, and it's a good like backstory, and adding more to the original book by Mark Millar, it makes you appreciate that book even more, because it's just a really good backstory for that book, and I love it. And the Last Ronin, which is the name of this story arc, is probably my second favorite of this whole run so far. But anyways, in between the Last Ronin and the story arc I was talking about, where he fights the Reavers in that town, there's a single issue, which is this issue right here, issue number 8, where Logan is just thinking about the night the villains took over, and we get, again, more backstory to the Old Man Logan book by Mark Millar, showing how the villains originally took over, like the night they attacked, and it's great. And we also get Jean trying to comfort Logan and talking to him and like getting him around his friends and stuff. It's just overall, it's a good filler story because it is just a single issue. It's a one-shot. It's not connected to any story. It's sort of like Superman issue number 7 and Superman Rebirth, which is one of my favorite issues from that series. How it's not connected to anything else. It's in between story arcs, but it's just a great small little story that I loved, and yeah, just a great single issue. But anyways, after the last Ronin, we get Wolverine versus Dracula, because Wolverine goes to save Jubilee because she's like a vampire and she gets called by Dracula. It's a crazy story arc, but it's fun and it's really short. And then after that, we get basically Wolverine and one of his former Alpha Flight buddies, Puck, in space, and then Jean Grey comes in and she's mind controlled. It's another fun sort of crazy story arc that I really enjoyed, another short one, and that was basically more to set up though the next story, which hasn't started yet, which is Logan going back to the wasteland, the world he came from before, and getting the young Hulk that he took from Bruce Banner. So that's really interesting, but I don't know how it's gonna work because I thought that world was like destroyed or whatever. Now, I didn't read all the Secret Wars main title because I found Marvel was just kind of dragging out, because at first I was like, this is really cool, and I was like, okay, this is stupid, this has been going on for months, Marvel, I'm not going to read this. So I don't know what happened at the end of it. I thought like a lot of the worlds got destroyed and Old Man Logan's universe was one of them, and that's because they were trying to like put everything into the canon universe, but I guess not, I don't know. So if you did read the Secret Wars story, please let me know in the comments below what happened to all the worlds, like why Old Man Logan's world is still around or whatever. So yeah, basically the character of Old Man Logan is awesome. There's a lot here to love. There's very little bad stuff. Just skip the Brian Michael Bendis stuff. And the first 4 issues of the current Old Man Logan story aren't that great and aren't really too necessary to reading it, but you can if you want to. But basically, I'd say start with the book by Mark Millar and then start with issue number 5 of Old Man Logan if you don't want to have to spend a ton of money, because the first 4 issues aren't necessary, and neither is the Brian Michael Bendis stuff, because it's just not that good. You can just read about a summary online or something if you want to. I wouldn't say it's really worth spending your money on, but the current series right now and this book are fantastic. So yeah, that's just me talking about a character I love. I love Old Man Logan. I love what's currently going on with him. I love how they've expanded on the universe that he started with. I can't wait for the next story arc, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments below where has been some of your favorite moments in Old Man Logan. If you've been reading it, what have you enjoyed the most? What have you enjoyed of the original book? Just let me know. I want to have a discussion about Old Man Logan in the comments. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.